Hey guys, you know what time it is. Before the start of the episode today, I'm going to talk about the gentleman's pick of the week. Back in another Rolex on bobswatches.com, and this time it's the Rolex DATEJUST Tuxedo index dial. If you look at the dial, actually this is the first time I've ever seen a Rolex like this, a tuxedo dial Rolex. So smooth bezel, first of all, really nice. The two-tone Rolex with the tuxedo dial, as I said, it's really gorgeous. The gray, the darker gray and the lighter gray combined with the silver and gold, really lovely. It's priced at 6.2K and it's sitting at 36 millimeters and it comes with a 31-35 automatic movement, 18 karat yellow gold, and it comes with a certificate of authenticity and warranty card from Bob's Watches, obviously. And if it's not satisfied, once again, if it's not 100% satisfied, return watch in 3 days for a full refund. So go check it out, guys. Link in bio. If you visit gentlemanpursuits.com or visit Instagram, there's going to be a link in bio as well. Click the link, go check it out. You don't want to miss out this deal because it's a one-off thing. So go check it out, guys. Roll the clip. Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Gentleman Pursuits podcast. Hope you're having a great day, staying hydrated. Make sure you're drinking that water. It's important for you. Go drink that water right now. That's good. Today, Tuesday here in Vancouver. It's really cloudy, really foggy. Don't quite like weather like these. I want my sun back. And to be honest, yeah, I kind of dislike it. But today's guest, and I'm sure his story is going to put a smile on my face. It is my greatest pleasure to have Arnaud, the communication manager from the world-renowned brand NBNF, here with us to talk watches and perhaps for us to know a little bit more about him. How are you doing, Arnaud?
Very well, thank you. What about you?
I'm doing okay. Woke up it's currently 8:30 a.m. here in Vancouver. Woke up around 6 o'clock. So if I in this video look sleepy, please.
No, you don't. I might
Okay,
be tired too because, as you know, it's 5:30 here p.m. in Geneva. So yeah, the same thing.
You just got off work, yeah?
Well, I'm still at work actually. We usually leave the office around 7, 8. So I'm still gonna be in the office for some time.
Okay. So you're currently in Switzerland, right?
Yep,
so
absolutely.
How is like everything going on there? Like, is it like really chaotic? How's the situation?
Well, it's been quite chaotic in the like March, April. So everything had, to be closed. The office was closed. All the watchmakers, they had to stay home. So luckily for us, we could, of course, work from home. But for the watchmakers, it's a bit more tricky. So in terms of production was a bit chaotic in those 2 days. And now it's getting, I wouldn't say back to normal because it's still very weird, like wearing masks everywhere. Most of the clubs are closed till mid-November. And even then, I don't know if they're going to open again. Restaurants, you need to wear masks. So, I mean, it's getting better, but still a bit weird.
Kind of, okay. Yeah, that's true. Like you have to wear masks in restaurants as well?
Well, when you are sitting and when you're eating, of course not. But if you want to like stand up and go to the bathroom or then you need to wear a mask. So
that one extra step. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope even. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was like, I hope even like during COVID times, MB&F is doing well. Like, I don't want I don't want anything bad happen to any watch company, to be honest. Yeah, and let's talk.
Yeah. Things are for the company pretty well. Like, to be honest, it's of course not the best year ever, and it's not going to be the best year ever. Yes. And this is a fact that we know. But compared to some other companies that we've heard what was going on, we know that we are still doing okay. So
that's really nice to hear. That's really nice to hear. Let's talk about the brand a little bit. As some of you may have known, MB&F stands for Maximilian Boozer and Friends. Max Boozer being the creator of MB&F, what is it like to work with such a legendary figure? I wouldn't understand, and I really would love to know. What is it like to work with him?
So it's very inspiring, and it's in a way also very rewarding because he's a very kind person, and he wants people in his company to be kind of like him. He's a real entrepreneur. He likes to do stuff, and he's the one that we always tell you, like, any ideas is always welcome, and just try, like, do whatever you want. You need to try. You need to be a entrepreneur, we call it. So it's like an entrepreneur within the company, and that's something that is amazing, because you can see how he does things and how he likes to always try new things, and no filter, I would say, and that's great for us, because when you are we're both more or less the same age, I guess, like young people in such a big company, and you propose something, and the week after you can see that it's actually happening, and doing something directly to the brand. It's really cool, and it's a cool feeling.
So he must be like a really good leader, because like some people don't really understand the difference between a boss and a leader. So I am assuming that Max Boozer is like a really good leader that can actually take your advice into account and make it happen.
Exactly. So as you said, the difference between boss and leader to me is that the leader, he wants everyone in the company to to feel important and to actually do stuff that are going to have an impact on the brand, and that's exactly what he's doing. So that's what I really like working with him.
That must be just such a nice experience to work with him. So from your experience, whether it's from your job or things you've learned at your workplace or knowledge you've attained on your own, what do you think is something that is really underappreciated and overappreciated in the field of horology?
Well, that's a good question. And to be honest, now that I'm working within the independent industry, before I was working in a big group, a big brand, and I can really say that all this independent universe, it's very underrated. Not in a way that when you know it, you know how to appreciate it. But most of the, let's say, like the mortal people, like the common of the people, they don't even know that it exists. Right. People would say that they are passionate about watchmaking, but they don't even know who, Kari Uutilainen is, or MB&F, or all those independent watchmakers. Most of the people, they don't know it, like they don't know them. And this, I think it's a bit underappreciated in a way. It's very easy to appreciate the big brands and to appreciate a GMT Pepsi from Rolex, but that doesn't mean that you know anything about watchmaking. And that's something that brings me to the other point. When you ask what's overappreciated, I feel that these big brands, especially if industry, like the industry now, those big four, when you think about AP, Rolex, Patek Philippe, and Richard Mille, this brand, they are doing a great job, but I think it's really, really overappreciated. When you see the prices in the secondary market and all those auction houses, and you see the prices getting crazy, I think that's a bit of a problem in the industry at the moment.
That is so. I totally agree with you. That I just thought of this question. I didn't. It wasn't included in the question list. So, as you said, these independent brands it's really hard. I'd say hard to penetrate into the market because the general public don't really know these independent brands. So, as I'm assuming that communication manager is a marketing related position, do you have like any like special like tricks or ideas or marketing campaigns that you put out specifically to attack that problem or to try to solve that problem?
So, first of all, the social media in general, mainly now most of us are on Instagram, has been a huge help for those little independent companies, because as you know, these are free media channels. Right. And that was the way for us with very low budget to connect with the public, right? So this was like many years ago when it started, it was a massive help for us. And now we are using it a lot because, as I said before, it's free, except taking our time. We can do whatever we want.
Yes.
And the best, not a trick, but like the best advice I would give to anyone working on social media and using social media to connect, is to be as transparent and as organic as possible. Because
that is so true. That is so
what
true.
I love about what I'm doing now, taking over like all the social media and everything for MB&F, is that I have the direct contact with all the clients and all the passionate about the brand. Everyone that likes MB&F and that would send a message, I would,
Nice.
reply directly and have a real discussion with them. And that's something
awesome.
that the big brands have. It's impossible for them to do it. It's, it's way too big, way too many people, and you cannot really have connection with the clients, the fans. And that's something which is very important for us. And I think you really need to do it yourself, because if you want to know your customers and if you want them to feel like they are talking to a real person and a real guy from the team,
Yes.
It's important to, to maintain it.
I really love what you just said, because once again, I personally, I love, there's this one like business guru named Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Like he once said that the most important asset that you can ever attain is connection with people. It's not the amount of money you earn from it, it's the connection with people. So I totally agree with you how a brand, if you want to actually be successful, you have to personally connect with your client and make them feel like, right? Make them feel like they're important. So,
absolutely.
As you, so from your point of view, with what you have in mind as just now as underappreciated or overappreciated, what is something that you would keep and something that you would change about NBNF if you can right now?
Well, what I would definitely keep is, the creativity, and that's not my part. That's really Max, job, and he's doing it pretty well.
Mm.
So it's very important to be as creative as we are today, because every time we have a new piece coming out, people are smiling, and that's the whole point of MB&F. It's like putting a smile on people's face. And basically the way that, is never looking at the market before creating a watch. Is always like, okay, I want to do something that makes me smile, and hopefully it will make people smile as well. Right. So I don't know if you've seen, but in March we launched this HM10 Bulldog. If you look at the
my
market,
favorite.
That's
my favorite.
Thank you. You would never create a watch that looked like a dog if you were looking at the market, right?
Yes.
So that's something that I would never change. Just keep doing whatever people wouldn't expect and whatever just makes you feel happy and proud, and then people are gonna enjoy it. And so that's definitely one point that I would never change, and that is very important for us.
Yes.
Also, all the things we do for communication to be very transparent, because I think nowadays our generation and people in general, they know when you are boosting them, and they know when you are just trying to have a fake story. And
yes.
I think it's important to be true to people, and they don't feel cheated or whatever. So that's something definitely I will keep.
Yes. And
what I would change is actually something I would also keep, but it's a bit tricky. Is okay. I would say the size of the company, because let me explain. It's amazing to have the size of the company we have now, because everything goes very fast. I mean, I work directly with Max. If I have an idea, maybe the week later it's going to be implemented. When you're in a big company, you have to, ask your boss, who's going to ask his boss, who's going to ask his boss, and then the group, and everything slow, and then nothing never happens. And if you are like a big company doing many watches, you lose this exclusivity. So it's important to stay very small. But what I mean by bigger company is maybe in terms of budget, because sometimes, it's a bit frustrating when you come from a big group like I was working before, and you can do those massive events with huge budget. You can do whatever you want. You can have advertising everywhere. With a small company, you have obviously a small budget, and sometimes it's a bit frustrating. So yeah, tricky.
Because here's one thing as well. Because I'm also kind of involved in the marketing industry. When you're working in marketing with a tight budget or a small budget, you really have to fire all your creativity neurons to think of everything that can be done in the least amount of money. So that requires a specific type of people to do that, and you must be that really creative person, or else you wouldn't be here still doing, right? So
no, you are 100% right, and that's the good thing about the small budget, that it pushes you to be creative and to find new way to communicate, and that's great. Don't get me wrong. The only thing is that it's easier when you can do, It would be nice to do sometimes like a big event, or invite our clients for a special event. But this, unfortunately, is something we can't really do with such a small company, an exclusive company.
It's okay. Ups and downs, right? So absolutely. This obviously is not your first job and not your first marketing job either. I myself, as I said, is in the marketing field as well. And this problems happens to me quite often, is that between marketing team and the designing team, let's say for a product that we're trying to sell, try to push, sometimes we would have different opinions and angle we want to emphasize on, right? So the designing team, maybe there's something they design that's like really groundbreaking, they want to focus on that more, but marketing team be like, oh, but the market likes this more, so we should emphasize on this more, right? So like between the marketing team and the designing team in a watch company, how often are there clashes between them, and how do you as a communication manager help to overcome it?
So I would say, I mean, it doesn't sound good, but it's okay. I would say almost every launch. So every time we have a new watch, there is a clash.
Okay.
So basically, just to explain, so at NBNF, as you know, we produce we have very small production. We craft about 200 watches per year. They are very complicated watches, and when we have a new watch coming out, we usually have only one prototype, sometimes two. And this prototype is basically for all the pictures, for the videos, for the presentation to the different retail partners. So these prototypes are very important for us marketing team and the sales department as well. Now, when you talk to the production team, it's not always so easy to explain to them that we need the prototype like months in advance.
Right.
And the thing is that if, let's say, next week we have a launch on Tuesday, 13th of October, right? For them, the launch is on 13th of October, and it's difficult to understand that we, the marketing team, need the watch maybe 13th of September or August.
Yes.
And that's why I'm saying that, because at MB&F we have almost one launch per month, which is a lot for such a small company. It's very a lot. And so it's difficult to tell them that every time we need like 2-3 months in advance the prototype. So there are always those kind of challenges. Right. But we try to work it out, and sometimes we are lucky, we have it in advance, sometimes not at all. I don't know if you've seen very lately, we launched a tripod, which is a table clock that we did a collaboration with L'Epée.
Yeah.
It was our 13th collaboration with L'Epée. We got the piece a day before the Geneva Watch Days, one day. So we couldn't do any pictures, we couldn't do videos, we couldn't do nothing.
Okay.
It's always a bit tricky, but sometimes it happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's like this little obstacles for marketing teams. I'm sure there are a lot of obstacles for a designing team too, but the marketing team sometimes just I totally understand.
And that's why you need to understand them as well. They have technical issues, they have last minute, problems, things that need to get fixed. So you need to understand them. They need to get our point too, and you need to find like a good point in the middle where you can,
yes,
find the best option, I would say.
Yes, exactly. So, on German Pursuits, like my website or podcast, I try to make interviews not as formal or not as just watch oriented, because I feel like everyone's doing that right now.
Yes.
And obviously the brand names called MB&F, Max Booster, and Friends. Keyword here is friends.
Yes.
And I'm sure the audience would love to know a little bit more about you as a person, as a watch lover, and that's why you're in the watch industry now. So I did some research, a little bit digging, and found out that you were once a ski instructor, yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So can you tell me a little bit about like what's your most like interesting encounter while skiing or most memorable experience you have while skiing?
So as I told you before, I think before we started the podcast, but I'm from the mountains. So I come from a very little place in Switzerland, which is in the middle of the mountain. So I've been skiing all my life.
Okay.
And when you're young, like before to start working, usually when you're a student, it's a good job, student job to be a ski instructor because you make some money, you do what you like, you're outside. It's pretty cool. So I've been doing it for many years. And I think the worst, let's say the worst, because that's the most interesting souvenir that I've got, is at some point. So basically before to work at NBNF, I was working at TUXEDO. And at TUXEDO, we had a brand ambassador who was called Patrick Dempsey. Maybe you know him, the actor. Okay. And last year or 2 years ago, so I was not a ski instructor anymore, but someone from TAG called me and said, okay, Patrick Dempsey is in Crans-Montana. Could you please go and ski with his child and be the ski instructor of the child? And I was the children. And I was like, okay, let's do it. It's fine. And so I went in the morning, met with Patrick Dempsey and the children, took the lift. First slope, I broke my knee.
Damn, that must be unfortunate. Damn, what happened to the kids then?
Well, I still went all the way down, so I was holding my knee and I was like skiing on one leg because I didn't want to, leave them on the side of the slope. Got to the end of the slope and I gave the children. Yeah. Well, I quit.
Damn, so, okay, you're that good.
Got to the end of the slopes, found another ski instructor, and I was like, okay, sorry, dude, can you just take the children with you because I need to go to the hospital? And I went to the hospital and they told me my knee was broken. So good memory, but also pretty bad year last year.
That was last year.
Yes, it was last winter. It was in, I think, December, so it was really the beginning of the season. And so the season was dead for me.
Is your knee okay right now?
Yeah, it's getting better. So this season is going to be okay.
The left knee?
I had the surgery and everything, so...
Oh, it was that bad, damn.
Yeah, it was a bad story.
Your left or right knee?
My right knee.
Oh, it's your dominant leg then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oof, that's damn.
It was not the best.
Damn, okay. So, in Switzerland, I've never been to Switzerland. I would love to visit the country, but I've also heard that because on this podcast we talk about watches and whiskey. So in Switzerland, it has its own really vibrant whiskey production scene as well. Do you like whiskey? If yes, which one do you like? If no, tell me about what is your go-to poison in a bar.
No, so I love whiskey.
Okay.
But to be honest, when you asked me in your email if I knew about the Swiss whiskey, I'm a bit ashamed, but I don't. So
I don't know a lot either, but I just know that they have their own whiskey production scene as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a big fan of Japanese whiskey.
Oh, which one? Which one's your favorite?
Love Nika, I love Akashi. I always have a bottle of Akashi home because I really like this one.
Oh, okay.
And, I love them. They are not so... I don't like when it's too smoked, like too...
Oh, too smoky, too...
Exactly.
Okay,
like those,
too peaty.
Scottish, exactly. Like most of the Scottish, well, some of them, they are very, very smoky, and that's not my cup of tea, I'd say. So, yeah, the Akashi is very... delicate.
Yes.
So I'm like,
you're the first. The interesting thing. You're the first person ever that when they talk about Japanese whiskey that I have a conversation with, they mention Akeshi, because not a lot of people that says when they like Japanese whiskey, Akeshi is like one of their favorite. Most of them they talk about maybe the Yamazaki, right? The Yamazaki, the Hakushu, something from Suntory or Nika, right? Akeshi is really rare. So Good choice right there.
No,
That's nice.
it's quite affordable. They have some nice ones because I'm not always buying those very expensive bottle of whiskey, but I think Akashi is like great product for a fair price. So I love it.
I'm a student still. I'm still in my third year of college, so affordable whiskey is my friend. I can only purchase affordable whiskey. So yes, Akashi is nice.
Akashi is the best.
Yes. So go check it out, guys. Akashi, remember, Japanese whiskey Akashi. So back to the watch industry a little bit. From what I see in MB&F is that almost, because there's a page showcasing everyone that works there, right? So almost everyone who works there has the opportunity to design, or as the website stated, collaborate on the production of MB&F machines. My favorite, as I said, is the Bulldog. So, which is a machine that you've collaborated on as well, right?
Yeah.
And out of all the watches you've collaborated on, which one's your favorite? Why?
I really love the HM6 Final Edition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you visualize, it's the HM6, so this crazy shape, Captain Future is like a spaceship. And the Final Edition is actually the first watch I worked on when I joined MB&F. And it's with the stainless steel case. And there are those grooves on the body, which, makes it very round and like very nice shape. And the dials are different colors. They used to be black, and on the Final Edition they are blue, which is beautiful blue. And also there's this like extra large dome on top of the watch that gives you good view on the tourbillon, and there's this protective shield that would open and close like on top of the watch. This one is a crazy piece. Like
is it the HM6 Final Edition?
Absolutely.
This is one phenomenal.
It's great. Like the movement is crazy, the shape and everything is crazy, but it's so light. You wouldn't imagine, like when you have it in your hands, it looks heavy and it looks impossible to wear, and it's actually just perfect. Like it sits on your wrist just perfectly.
Damn,
this one is definitely one of my favorites of all the HM and all the LMs.
I forgot what is the first MB&F watch I've ever seen in my life, because I grew up in Hong Kong, and I believe in Hong Kong there's also like one or two MB&F retailers that I've seen, or at least advertisement that I've seen around where I live.
Actually, a Mad Gallery in Hong Kong.
Just open or?
No, so it was open, but now they are moving to a new mall. So they have currently closed the one in, I think it was in Arbor City, maybe.
Okay.
And now they're moving to another mall. So just moving place, but since a few years now. So
yes, I think I've seen some MB&F like I think it's like something like tripod, not actually a watch, but like a actual machine that put on your table. I think I've seen that, and I've always just wondered, how on earth do you make things like that literally looks straight out of Iron Man or Transformers?
To be honest, even I wonder sometimes how it can come out of my head.
That is phenomenal looking, man. But as I said, my favorite is Bulldog. It's just like, also because I have a really thin wrist, I would say if I wear a Bulldog, it's not gonna fit on me at all.
Actually, the Bulldog is not that big, and it's
how big is it around? Like,
it's pretty compact, and because some of the HM they are pretty big and a bit tricky to wear, but the Bulldog is very compact. So the back of the watch is pretty small, and actually it's not much bigger than this one. And you can see I have very small wrists too, and it perfectly. And the Bulldog is just slightly taller, I would say. Okay. But to be honest, very easy to wear. Especially the titanium edition is super light. So you have to come to Geneva, and I'll show it to you, and you'll have it on your wrist.
If I have the chance to, I would love to come to Geneva. It's the world watch nexus, right?
If you like watches, you should come at least once, yes.
So after asking the question on which watch it's your favorite to collaborate on, so it is only normal for me to ask, which is also the final question of today's interview or podcast episode, is that If you can take direct control and full control of the creation of a watch, what would that dream watch of yours be? It doesn't have to be confined within MB&F's philosophy. It can be anything you like within the watch world. If you have to create one watch, what would that watch look like?
That's interesting. Okay, what we've done here, so it's not going to be the same, but the concept, let's say, of one watch that we've done here that I really loved was lately we've presented the Thunderdome. I don't know if you've seen this.
Yes, Thunderdome.
And what I loved about this one was a real mix, because I'm a watch lover, you know, so I love watchmaking, traditional watchmaking, and this watch to me was the perfect example of craziness, which is missing a lot in the watch industry today. So you really had this tourbillon, like triax tourbillon on top, which was completely crazy. And on the other side, you had this amazing movement finished by Kari Voutilainen, which is, you know, the epitome of traditional watchmaking. It's amazingly beautiful. So if I had to create a watch today, I would really try to mix those two universes, which is the beauty of a nice movement, you know, with amazing finishings, and to really bring something completely crazy on it. Because I feel like today most of the brands, they are not taking many risks, you know.
That is, I love that. I love that expression. That is so true.
I love the products.
Yes.
Rolex, for example, they do beautiful products, but they never take big risks. And that's what I'm missing in the industry. So, okay, at MB&F we take a lot of risk because the shapes are very crazy, but I think you can really like be in the middle and respect the traditional watchmaking with twisting it with, you know, like the crazy shapes.
That is so right.
If I had the correct answer to your question, I would have my brand already. Created the watch already.
Hey, at least you have the idea. All you need is just actually work on it. Idea is the hardest to have, right? Like actual unique ideas. So that is awesome. And I really love what you said about the current watch industry, because I myself is also witnessing a trend where a lot of watchmakers are going towards a more minimalistic spectrum. I don't hate it. Like, they're beautiful, but I agree with you as in how not a lot of people are taking risk. Maybe we see a lot of independent watchmaker or so-called micro brands taking way more risks than big brands, because marketing, right? The market, most people loves a safe choice, safe design, so they went with that. And
there's also another problem is when you're part of a bigger group. So let's say if you are part of Richemont, if you are part of LVMH, unfortunately you cannot take risks because they wouldn't allow you to take risks. Like every quarter you need to show them the sales, and it just needs to be flat or gain just a little bit. It's a bit difficult for them. So I don't know.
That's 100%. That is 100% facts. And all right, Arnaud, thank you so much for taking the time to participate in this interview. I myself, I enjoyed it a lot. It's really lovely talking to you. You sound like a really great person that anyone could be friends with, to be honest.
Thank you very much.
And I get to learn more about you, about the brand, and indirectly learn more about Max Boozer. And I'm certain that the audience who are listening right now to this point gained some valuable knowledge as well. And once again, thank you so much, Arnaud, the communication manager from MB&F. And this is Ryan from Gentleman Pursuits. And I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, Ryan. Bye-bye.